So I've always been like, oh, goody two shoes, like follow everything by the book. Like I didn't want to get in trouble. So
Mm,
I did everything like out like let me open my LLC, let me open my bank
mm,
account, let me register with the state, like here's what I'm gonna do, you know?
yeah.
So I did all the research and everything first. And I want to say it took me like a good like 3 months
Oh,
just
wow.
because I really wanted to like make sure that I was doing everything correct because there's also like certain rules about like selling clothing to kids. Like you want to make sure that you're using the right kind of fabrics and that there's not going to be
Mm,
like any chances of like suffocation in your clothing. So
mm,
it's like so many other things that I had not thought about, which I'm glad I did the research for because God forbid like I try and sell something that's like, oh, actually you can't sell that, you know?
oh,
So I wanted to
uh-huh.
make sure that everything was good. And so I did my research and I remember I told my dad about it and I was like, hey, like I want to start a business. Like I don't want to start a job and like be away from my daughter, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So he was all for it because, my dad's very like he's like a very like go-getter mindset. He's like,
Mm.
all right, now you told me, now I need to see you do it, you know? So I was like, okay, the pressure is on. Um, so yeah, so then once I opened it up, I actually started with this idea of clothing that extends sizes.
Mm,
'Cause at the time I was like making clothes, but my bebecita would like outgrow it within the month, you know?
mm,
And so I was like, there has to be a better way, as cliche as that sounds, like there has to be a better way. And so I found these patterns online that were like, oh, this pattern would fit from 3 months all the way to 12 months, you know? And I
mm,
thought, perfect, like I'll market these and it'll be amazing. And so I dedicated like a good like 2 weeks to sewing up so many outfits, and they were all in this grow with me style.
mm.
And I remember I launched and I sold two. And for anyone else, that probably sounds like, oh man, that sucks. Like, like, but for me, I was like, all right, that means we can do better, like this
Mm,
idea might have flopped. So I stuck with it a little while and I was like, maybe I didn't like share like how awesome these would be, So I was like, are you
mm.
tired of your kid outgrowing their clothes? Like I need to market it a different way, like get the message across. I remember I even made like a little um a little gif where it was like the romper was like this one. I was like, watch it grow, like it grows with your kid. So I was like really trying to get the message across, but eventually I was like, all right, let me try like sewing just like clothes that I would be making like for my daughter.
Mm,
Like the other clothing, like little sets that you would normally see in stores. And those actually took off way faster. So I'm always the kind of
mm.
person where I was like, I can be proven wrong. Like this idea, it was cool, but it didn't take off. So like, now let me stick to these other clothes. And that's when it really like started growing and I was having like so much fun making it. And I
Mm,
remember at the time I was working around my daughter's like nap schedule. So I was like, all right, like I can sew while she's napping because my machine's like super loud. And so it like all worked out. And eventually I got to the point where I got really overwhelmed with it. It was
mm,
like a good problem to have, but I didn't know how to navigate like so many orders and I didn't know how to say no to new orders. So through the years, I've
mm.
kind of had to learn how to balance it out,
Yeah.
because I'm the kind of person where I want to, say yes to all the orders, not because I'm greedy, but because I know that people want my clothes. And I take pride in that. I take pride in the
Mm,
fact that, people can shop anywhere, but they want to shop with me. And, I didn't want to disappoint anyone.
mm.
But eventually I learned like there has to be a limit. I can't be my own little sweatshop. Like
Setting a boundary.
yeah, exactly. So it has helped me in more ways, I want to say, like having a
Mhm,
business because like you said, I'm able to now set those boundaries of like, okay, at this many orders, I can still manage, but anything
mhm.
over that, like there's no way. So I have had to be that business owner that it's like, hey, I messed up. I took on way too much
Mm.
and I thought I could handle it, but turns out I can't. So let me give you some options. If you want to wait longer, cool. If you want your money back, cool. So I've had to, really own up to my mistakes, which I think has helped
Mm.
me as a person as well, because it's like before, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I'm a Scorpio, so I feel like I have like such a huge ego and I
Mm.
never want to be proven wrong. And I'm like, So before I would like take on all those orders and I'd be like, even if I'm like crying, I'm gonna get these out, like I don't want anyone to see that I
Mm.
actually couldn't do it. But now I'm able to be like, no, like there's limits to everybody, like everybody has limits. And so,
Mhm.
and it's also giving me the confidence to be like, yeah, like I know my limitations, I know my boundaries,
Mhm.
and it's okay to express them. It's okay to say, hey, I messed up, especially to my community that I feel like sees me as, um, this mother that I am and how dedicated I am to my child and how this all started because I wanted to provide for her.
Mhm.
I think it's always better to be real with people. And I think that's also helped me in my business is anytime there's been, even if it's like not even my fault, like sometimes I'll order fabric and it's like it's stuck somewhere in transit or, stuff like
Mhm.
that. It's always better to just be upfront with people. So I've learned that as well throughout my business. And yeah, luckily, like I said, it's just been growing. And now that I'm on TikTok, I transitioned to other items, which I never thought would happen because I always thought like, no, like my thing is sewing, like
Mm.
that's what people like me for. So it actually wasn't planned though, my sweater that you mentioned earlier. Because I just thought like, oh, like let me try it. I remember I had given it as an option, like in
Mhm.
addition to the clothing that I was sewing, like, hey, if you want to match with your kid, like you can get a sweater and I'll stamp the image on
Mm.
it. But I didn't think it would like completely take over my business. So when I posted that video, I remember telling my sister, I was like, wow, look at this person like telling me to stop crying. Because like you said, I cry in a lot of videos. Like it just happens. The waterworks will come when they come. And so I remember telling her, I was like, I don't want to like be mean to this person because there's obviously something else going on with them.
Mm.
And I, even peeped their profile. I was like, yeah, there's no reason to be mean back, but I kind of wanted to make a statement,
Mhm.
because I did kind of want to, stand up for myself and everyone else who's watching my videos. So when I posted my comeback, which was literally just my sweater as a statement that soy chingona pero lloro mucho, I was I was really thinking like, yeah, this is me in a sweater, and if you don't like it, then oh well, like so I
Yeah.
felt like really good about it, and I was like, all right, this is like a fun little, like comeback or whatever. And then next thing you know, like the video blows up, and now like I'm over here with boxes and boxes of sweaters. So I just think it kind of ties back to what you were saying. Like people like, to resonate with videos. Like I think a lot of people are like, oh, TikTok, like it's just somewhere to, kill time and scroll for a few hours. Like, no, I'm inspired so much on that app, especially the end of last year when so many small businesses were getting the recognition that they deserve.
Mhm.
And even um like not just clothing businesses, but restaurants and all these other things. And it's just like, wow, like
Yeah.
there's so much power on the app, and like imagine if we all used it for good all the time. So I get so inspired on there, which is why like I keep posting and hope that it, like you said, resonates with people. And it's
Mhm.
it's still, and it's fun too. Like I remember planning that video, I was like, look at me.
It was like that F-bomb right there. It's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, how you were saying about like the experimentation. No, not the experimentation, but like you in a way you were like, wait, there's like 2 points I want to go. It's like I want to say them both at the same time. But so like one of them was like you putting off that sweater was like a form of like experimentation. And that's like the whole thing with businesses too, is like you gotta
Hmm.
experiment with like, oh, what's working, what's not working. And in one of the video, oh, I'm like, okay, before I say what I'm gonna say, and the other thing was like also like pivoting, because sometimes yeah, it was like pivoting into like something new, which goes to like there's um when you start like something new. Oh, I know, I forgot. But sorry. I forgot like my thought. But like the point was you experimenting with like that, and then like showing other people how you're pivoting to something else. You're also letting them know, again, being transparent with your journey. You're letting them know that you could do it too, and then like it's okay to set your boundaries, it's okay to set your limits,
Hmm.
it's okay to go and sell something else, because if that's what brings the passion, then like go for it. Like there's nobody, this is your business, you're the one in control. So like if you want to sell this instead, like fuck it, just go and do it. Like you don't have to, nobody's stopping you, nobody else is gonna pay your bills, nobody's gonna give you the happiness but yourself.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's so awesome. Like sometimes like we do things where like, oh yeah, this is like I'm just sharing my story, but like sharing your story is like not everybody does it. I know everybody, and sometimes like people could like feel the authentic authenticity
Hmm.
and like the transparency, like there's that energy is like ah, like you could just see it and feel it, and it's awesome that like you were able to like share that and like share all of that.